What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. My name is Lamont. I've been a full-time trader for about 7 years now. Been part of the Chart Guys team for about half that time, where I head up our futures room and our swing report. In this video, we will go over how to capture a follow-up trade. So if you don't get your initial attempt for whatever reason, price doesn't come in your trade zone or whatever, or maybe you just missed it because you weren't around, how to get a follow-up trade if that occurs, or how to catch it in a little bit later, and also we'll update you on some of the recent ideas that are shared here as well. So let's get into it. So first things first, here we have Microsoft. Microsoft was an idea that was an official idea that didn't come into our trade zone, but we shared how we sent out the trade zone to our subscribers on this day, and that's pretty much it. So just updating you here now. I think last week I said, from here on out, a reasonable trade zone now became this, right? Moving it up here, that would have been very reasonable. Obviously, it's not come back down to it. So now at this point, what you'd be waiting to do for something like Microsoft, if you want to try to get on board this train, is to wait for session to session value to move lower for a few sessions. So let value move lower, pretty much very similar to this day. Let value move lower for a few sessions, and then the first time that price has the opportunity to come to open above the prior day's point of control, you look for a play. Then doing the same exact thing that we did here. So you just take this idea, and so for example, value moved lower on this day, right? And so if you're trying to get on board this trade now, and then you see that, okay, this is potentially the new daily high or low on the daily time frame, right? That's this session here, the 17th. Okay, that's what this value area looks like. You take this guy, you see the strong open here. Okay, now I know that my trade zone should be something like this. It should, oops, that's too far. It should be inclusive of the prior day's high, the point of control, and then I like to use the block of volume that best represents the point of control. So here's the POC, and here's the block of volume, this guy right here, right? That best represents the point of control. So something like this would make a whole lot of sense for a follow-up trade. You would have gotten one fill hypothetically. Take your profits no later than the open. Take your profits no later than the developing value area high of the day, and then look to hold the rest and see if that's the daily high or low. So bigger picture, however, if you're still looking for a play in Microsoft, again, like I said, this is very reasonable now. Just moving this whole guy up here, something like this makes a whole lot of sense. This would be a play not for a daily high or low, but for a weekly high or low. Okay, so that's it for Microsoft. Moving on, so TNK, I will share the updated trade zone that was shared to our subscribers in private. This was from 2 weeks prior. This actually was right before the ETN trade that I sent to you guys a snippet of last week, the snippet that was attached to the end of last week's video. This is another private idea or update to the private idea from, just for our subscribers. And it was just moving the trade zone up a little bit. So again, going with this theme of how do you get the trade after it has gotten away from you? Because our original trade zone was here. It missed us, right? So here, let me hide this. All right, our original trade zone was here, and it missed us by just a little bit. I also sent like a session to session setup, I believe, on this day that also missed us, unfortunately. And so in the update video 2 weeks prior, I said, all right, we'll make, just like with Microsoft, they made that slight adjustment just now. Okay, we'll make the adjustment to this now, right? Because now we're looking for a daily high or low. The name has been stronger than we thought, right? And everything still makes sense, right? As long as you're holding over this key structure, they should be trying to come here. If you can clear here, then they should be trying to come to here, right? And again, I'll share the details of the actual video from 2 weeks prior at the end of this. And so you can see this is pretty much exactly where they had problems, was that point of control. Why is our target under it? Because we don't want to assume that they will get there. We know they're trying to get there, but we have no idea whether or not they'll get there. It's just like in sports, right? If one team has the ball, they're trying to score a goal, or score a goal, whatever, right? Make a shot, whatever. Do you know that they will do so? No, right? But you know exactly where they're trying to get to. So our targets are going to be based off of where they're trying to get to. All right, so again, I'll share the video for this idea update in the end of this video. And if you want those kinds of updates sent to your email regularly, and those updates are published every week, but we also send out updates very regularly. I'll answer any of your questions that you have regarding any of this swing report. Just shoot me an email. As long as it's trading related, I will get back to you as soon as possible. So if you're interested in that swing report, check out the swing report. Link is below. I hate that part, the selling part. But anyway, so that is pretty much it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So now you're looking for another daily higher low to be set over 52.42. And as long as this level holds 54.14, we should expect more balance, very similar to what happened back here. We're pretty much just looking for more balance like this, more balance like this. Okay, so that is TNK. And the weekly chart has space for a higher low as well, so you can definitely be looking for plays. Honestly, you can keep using this same exact trade zone because if they don't come back into here and trade through all of this, then they're going to look for more balance here, you know? So that's pretty much it for T and K. Moving on to KMX, if you recall, KMX, we gave you that trade setup over here. Right now we are like pretty much 11, 12% off of that setup. I believe we talked about another one recently as well, like off of this structure. And I know last week I mentioned that I would be shocked if they didn't touch down to test this key level because this key structure is what stop price here, stop price here, stop price there. And so to get so close and to fail would have been a very notable failure. It could have happened, but it's not the more likely scenario. And so lo and behold, here we are. So now what are we looking for? If you're still in from here, your stop should probably be no later than like here, this prior daily lower high, because the goal for the buyers now is to get back here and flip this back into a demand zone. Right now, it's a supply zone. That being said, if you do reject from here, if the buyers can't get back into here and then lower low again, that opens up all of this, which opens up all of this price action as well. So if you're still in here, you're sitting pretty. I know a few of the public subscribers or our public viewers got into that, so that's cool. Thank you, appreciate the emails. And that is pretty much it for KMX. I'm not really interested in doing anything with this either. There is still space for a potential weekly higher low, so an aggressive buyer, you can be looking for session to session setups in the next week. But I'm probably not going to do anything with this, to be honest. So I like that setup there. I like this setup here. I don't want to force anything here because it's not very clear. You're in the middle of a much bigger chop zone. So although there is space for a weekly higher low, if we just zoom back out, you can see that the weekly trend has been pretty messy back here. You know, higher low, higher high, no follow through, lower high, lower low, no follow through, etc. So I'm not too interested in KMX anymore in the short term. And if you were in from here, you can have your stop here or just exit it and just book the win and move on to the next one. Moving on to GDX here. So remember GDX, we ended here and I said, okay, well, this is positioned pretty well for another potential setup, for a session to session setup if they can hold this guy, right? So the idea is if they hold this guy, they're going to try to come back here. They did not do that. They didn't even try to fake us out. They gapped down. So this one was just, it didn't present us with a setup that was shared last week. And so we didn't do anything with it, or I didn't do anything with it. And you shouldn't have done anything with it either. That being said, it is back in the original trade zone. So the original trade zone has already worked once here, came into the trade zone, popped out of it, hit our target, and now we're back here again. This original trade zone is still reasonable. As long as this structure is holding price, they should be trying to come here. Just like it did here, they ran here, held here, they ran here, it held here, they ran here, which is all tests of this area. So that is pretty much it for GDX. So pretty reasonable. I don't, the further away from the original trade idea, the further away from when the trade idea was established, the less I like the trade, but still makes sense. So if you want to take it upon yourself to look for this, very reasonable. And then finally, ARM, if you'll recall from, this was originally, it was shared back here. And then we updated that trade zone to this. This is still the conservative trade zone. If you wanted to be a bit more conservative, and this is where you wanted to lie in wait. But I also mentioned the fact of the potential for a session to session setup if you got a strong open over Friday's point of control on Tuesday. So we don't get that, right? Because here on Friday, that was here, right? So on Friday we were saying, okay, if we, actually we do. It's not, it's not very meaningful, right? You typically want a strong open and then you want to see strength on the open. So, whatever, you want to argue with me that was technically over the point of control, fine, but it's not by much, if anything. So I don't really love that. I wouldn't have loved that, and I didn't do anything in this. So that was a busted idea and or didn't set up for you, depending on how you want to look at it. But you do get this setup here, which is the gap. And this is, one of my favorite plays. I don't share this setup anymore with Swing Report subscribers because it's just too much activity on the morning. I don't want to bombard your email inbox with these updates, and it's a Swing Report subscription, not a day trade subscription. If you're interested in that though, then check out our chat community because we do this regularly, where we'll live stream our morning sessions. And at least for me, I very often would trade the open. In fact, I'll include a link for the stream from 2 Fridays ago where I live trade this exact, not this exact, a very similar setup in RTY, in the gap up situation where I was looking to buy the gap. Now it's not, by no means was it a perfect session, right? There's an initial stop out and I don't get to all my targets, but it was a profitable session and it does a good job of showing how to trade this setup, trading the open. So if you're interested in trading the open, I'll include a link for that in the description. And again, that's actually, that's a private thing that we do for our Slack room subscribers. Yeah, but if you're interested in joining our Slack room, that's one of the programs that we offer. So check it out if you want. And yeah, so this would have just been a matter of seeing incomplete gap fill, roll over the open. You would buy that open, throw your stop under the low, take profits at the next reasonable resistance, which would be here, and then leave your stop under there for the rest. That would have been a pretty good win. Pretty good R multiple just for that initial position play, and then obviously it's followed through since then. So what do you do from here from ARM? If you really want to be conservative, you can still stick with here, but now at this point you can take this conservative trade zone and move it to here, right? Because you know that as long as these sellers can't trade through all of this volume, then they don't do any proving. So actually let's line it up better with these volume blocks here. So something like this would be pretty reasonable for a new trade zone. Okay, this would be a play for a daily higher low, assuming you see some retracement sooner rather than later. And that is pretty much it. If you're still in from the original trade zone, then you're just sitting pretty. I wouldn't even move this stop. Just see how far it can take you because the semis are leading right now. If you really do want to move your stop though, I guess under here would be fine, like where the volume really tapers off under this node here, roughly 66.90. Okay, so any subscribers, if you're still in from the original trade zone, there's your stop. So I think that's it. PSX was an old idea. So yep, that's it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for sharing some of your time and energy with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you soon. Again, we will include a link for that live stream in the description, and also in the end of this video, after I'm done, jabbering away at you, I will also include that setup for TNK, the updated setup. Okay, so that's how we get the follow-up trades. In case if you missed the first one, you just make a slight adjustment using the same exact tactics, right? Because market dynamics don't change. They might express themselves differently across different assets or in different circumstances, but the dynamics themselves never change. You have to work through supply and demand, right? Buyers and sellers need to work through these areas in order to advance. So that's it. Appreciate you guys, and I will see y'all soon. Oh yeah, if you wouldn't mind hitting us with a like and subscribe, we would greatly appreciate that. And that's it. Farewell. But something like this now is very reasonable, right? Essentially moving this trade zone up, assuming that if they don't trade through this bit of balance, then these buyers will be fine. So something like this actually would be better. Okay, and you're looking to play for here now. All right. So if you are interested in this shipping name, this new trade zone, very reasonable. Okay. All right.